Alright, so here we are with episode 12 of The Demon Girl Next Door, the final episode. A lot of questions have been answered, bombs were dropped figuratively in the last episode, and Momo has wandered off in order to do some thinking, because, I mean, that was a lot to frickin' take in, so understandable. We'll just have to see what's going to happen for this finale and how they're going to bring us on over to season 2. If you guys like the video, like the video. If you dislike it, dislike it. I do have my full length up on Patreon and early access up to 3 weeks on my YouTube memberships. But other than that, let us get started. Who would have thunk? Not gonna lie, I saw that orange box and the first thing I thought of was Phoenix. Wow. Your father would be proud. Oh. Oh my god. I was just over here like, he looks like a Shota. Yeah, me too. Me too, Yuko. He's just in a box. He's always been with us. Wow. Well, that was something that she wanted to do since like first 2-ish episodes, right? Wanting to figure out what she wants to do. Oh. I mean, you've also helped her get healthier, so. She's out of here. I was over like, what is she? Maybe we get to hear it by the end of this episode, huh? It seems like Yuko's not waiting for Momo to have her, I don't know, have her time to brood and all that, right? She's coming right after her. Okay, the reveal of the dad is like so funny to me. But also, Yuko's just over like, oh my god, that was really short. That means that I'm going to stay the way that I am too. I'm just going to be fucking short because I got his genes. The poor gal got her father's gene and not her mother's. I forgot she got tossed last episode. Oh no, her worst enemy, doggo. Oh, that's not it? Or... No, it's... Oh, that dog's over here like, hey man, I'm trying to play with my toy here. Damn, dude, she really came for her ancestor. Wasn't even scared of that doggo. Maybe she's where all those... What the heck is that in the corner? Just like her sister! What? Those... Maybe they're all just cosplaying. Oh, snap! Well, she is a succubus after all, huh? Oh, Mikan. Damn, did they walk all the way into the below the bridge? Below of the... Ooh, it's also ready to charge too. Understandable, dude. Being wet and then being struck by lightning. You need to put up your defenses. What the f-
また呪い出ちゃってる。ごめんね。98円。教えてください、モモのこと。モモを探さなきゃ。
98 cents.
モモはその時別の町に預けられていたから、探すのも何も当時のことを知る古株の魔族がいたとしても、魔法少女と魔族は接触できないから。それモモから聞きました。あれ？でも私が
Oh, it's on her horn.
あなたからは千代田さくらの気配を感じるってメタコが言ってたんでしょ。はい。さっき言った通りこの町で魔族と魔法少女が出会うって普通ありえないことなの。はい。だからシャミ子とモモが出会えたのはもしかして運命的。
Okay.
でもシャミ子だけで行った方がいいわ。なぜですか？だってシャミ子とモモが話してるの聞いたら動揺
Oh, dude, she just... Yeah, they stuck a fucking rose right in her head.
見つけたぞ魔法少女。モモ、ミカンさんにお姉さんの行方がわからないこと。ミカンは姉の弟子だし動揺しそうだったから。ですよね。おかげで呪いのシャワーを浴びまくりました。服がダメになりました。よもこんなんなったぞ。っていうかシャミ子のお父さんを封印したのはうちのお姉ちゃんでしょ。
Hey, who took her Lilith's glasses off?
モモは私の宿敵です。仲良くする理由がなくても一緒にいていいはずです。何それ。
You know, keep your friends close, but your enemy closer.
魔法少女やめちゃいませんか？私と契約して私の眷属になってください。
Damn, is that like a confession or something? Oh my god. How old is your mom exactly then if she's stopped aging?
モモはさくらさんを探したいんですよね。でも魔法少女を阻む結界のせいで行動できない。だったら魔法少女をやめてしまえばいいんです。やめる。
Is that really that simple? Yeah.
やっと戦う理由ができたんです。そのためにモモが必要なんです。
Finally found her reason, huh?
魔法少女より魔族向きの性格だと思うんです。
I mean, yes.
だってほっとくとどんどん食生活が自堕落になる。結構ここにしてくるね。要は黒ピンクの服がパーソナルカラーにゃ。闇落ちして戦闘フォームをシンプルな黒ベースに変えよう。武器は黒い刀とかにしよう。ゲームの問題まで含まれてくる。私の眷属になるのは悪い話じゃないですよ。
It's a pretty good deal.
私のシャドウミストレスユーコの配下になれ。私の眷属になると得点も盛りだくさん。なんと3食昼寝付き。さらに今ならゴミ出しと皿洗いも担当するぞ。
Damn. Damn. Yeah, those fucking bonuses. Damn, dude. What next? You're gonna offer her to live with you?
闇落ちしても人格に影響がないことは世が保証するぞ。そうか。3食昼寝付きとかそんなものいらないよ。シャミ子は急にいなくならない。はい。
Oh. Oh my god, they're holding hands.
何をしていても変わらずにいてくれる。お父さんに誓って約束します。そっか。いや待てよ、なんかおかしい。私にこんなハッピーが降りかかるはず。闇落ちしたらエーテル体のリンク先、私当面弱くなるよね。リンはい、弱くなります。多分あえて説明しなかったんだこの人。
Oh. I guess I'll find you in season 2, huh?
よく考えたら私が闇落ちせずともシャミ子が私の代理でこの町の魔族を探してくれればよくない？あれで、お礼として私がシャミ子を今まで以上に北へ護衛する。いい取引じゃないかな。ほう。でもそれ今と変わらなくないですか？むしろ私の任務が若干重たくなっているような。そんなことないよ。気のせいだよ。この取引、今なら特訓後のプロテインがスペシャルバナナ味になるよ。そしたら闇落ちの話は？言ってみる。私を眷属にしたいなら私を倒してからにするがいい。期待してるぞ魔族よ。私が勝ったら眷属になってくれるんですか？夢に潜って暗示をかけて戦うのは。あれは禁止。拳で勝って。理不尽。
As per usual, Momo just fucking flipped it on Yuko. And then the one thing that Yuko has an advantage of going into her dream literally got taken away. Right back to the same neighborhood. That poor doggo. You know, I haven't had those in a long time. Come on now, Yuko. You can do it. Just like how you do it in the opening. Come on now. Try snapping the other way. Is she saying this to real?
宇宙戦艦とか巨大化とかあれ
Look at Rio.
ハードボイルドスキルお父さんは訳あってプリズンにお勤め中なのかとプリズン近くに単身した東大元暮らしちのヨシュアに似たのかもしれませんねヨシュア
Joshua. Okay, so it is Joshua.
昔のメソポタによくいた名前です私たちメソポタハーフだったんですか
Well, I mean, your ancestors.
わらばうしじゃなくて可愛い便箋に書くといいかもはい出だしに時効の挨拶を添えて終わりで相手を気遣うはいできました
Did you write a love letter?
これを読むがいいあれいつもと色が違くないですか
Mm-hmm.
色の服を着ちゃダメかなでもいつもより好きかも
Oh, you are wearing a darker color, huh?
背景国書の子いかがお過ごしでしょうか先日は少し落ち込んでいるように見えたため魔族的に
Demonic concern.
私に主導権を握らせていただければと思います魔法少女よ今こそ堕落の時だ今日の15時に河川敷に一人で来るがいい PS まだ暑いので動きやすく暑さ対策をした服装でお越しくださいモモは今頃私の果たし状を読んでいる頃魔法少女よ
Oh my god, the fucking attack of like the subtitles right now. I am
シャミ子から手紙をもらって多分修行を休んで遊びに行かないかって言いたいんだと思ういいじゃんいいじゃん
it's supposed to be a letter of challenge, but
神話の時代から幾世相現代に至るまで闇の一族は光の一族から追われる存在
yeah, oppressed, all right.
最強の魔法少女の傘の下光の一族と闇の一族が緩く共存する特別な
So it's
どこかにあるらしい
So is it gonna attract more people?
総じてスルー力が半端ない聖域桜ヶ丘は
あなたは覚えていないと思うのですが
Oh, she's actually
お父さんがあなたに言っていたことがあるんですよく来たな千代田桃
she thought that y'all were going out. Of course, the place that you and your sister likes the most is under a sakura tree, huh? Okay. 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 I'm flabbergasted. So I guess I'm just gonna go write my notes and we'll be right back to the center. They make mention that there are other demons here since, as they said towards the end with the narrator, that this town is a place where demons and magical girls can coexist with each other for the most part. And so there's other demons who are chilling around here. So this part where it's just her wandering in the mall and there's just this thing right here. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's just a really realistic, a mascot, you know? It got little flapping ears and everything. And then there's just a cat girl that's just walking by. I'm like, what the hell's going on? What the heck is this? You know, maybe it's also just a cosplayer. Okay, so from what I understood, Miss Sakura Chiyoda is the person I owe for making me healthy again. But Momo doesn't see it that way. Yeah, Momo doesn't see things that way. I think that if I just left her alone, Momo will disappear and I'd never see her again. So that's why she's rushing to find Momo. That's why I'm going to return the favor by dragging Momo back and then helping her search for Miss Sakura. Okay, so here in this part, Yuko says, I think Momo got close to me, So here in this part, Yuko says, I think Momo probably got close to me to try and get some info about her sister. But unfortunately, the one lead she finally found wasn't able to provide any answers. She must be really depressed about having been sent back to square one. I don't think she'd be willing, or she'll be willing, to work together with me anymore. And it's... I guess... I mean, this is just Yuko speculating, right? This is what Momo thinks. But from what we know about Momo, or at least from what little that we know about Momo, because she keeps a lot of things close to her chest. She keeps it locked down, even towards Mikan, right, her friend and all that. And so I guess I understand the way that she's thinking about that, right? Understandable. And also, it comes from that fear that Yuko assumes that Momo will disappear if she's left alone. And it is just her, like, beating herself down. It's just like, oh, you know, I don't think she'd be willing to work with me anymore after finding out about this. But we kind of have the idea that the reason why Momo, and also she says it later on, that the reason why Momo went away was because she's literally thinking about the whole idea of, oh my god, my sister took your dad away, and your mom had to live for the next 10 years as a single mother, working and like having to deal with this curse as well, and having to raise their 2 children in relative poverty without their father, right? That's an awful that's an awful thing, like, on top of the curse, right? It's horrible. And as I mentioned last episode, Momo takes this responsibility upon herself, even though she shouldn't. It's not her stuff, right? She wasn't even there. As Mikan says, Momo was off in some other freaking city, and by the time she came back, she found out that Sakura has disappeared. Alright, so that was episode 12 of The Demon Girl Next Door. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. For me, I thought that, you know, in terms of what I thought, my thoughts on this episode in general, I feel like I'm still flabbergasted. I don't know, I just feel very confused. Like, I don't really know how to feel about it, and it kind of comes from the anime trying to balance both serious and comedic gags at the same time, and it feels a little off to me, just because it kind of feels like we're supposed to be handling some sort of serious situation, and then we just have the constant sound effects that I've mentioned that I have my problems with these, like, sound effects, because, like, the moment they start kicking in, I get very distracted, because I'm just like, oh, big sound that's repeating itself, and, like, I can't focus on anything but the sound, and then, like, I just stop reading the subtitles at some point, and I just start looking at, like, the surroundings instead. And so, like, initially, just watching this whole thing and just and it's kind of been happening for the past two-ish episodes, where I have to go back and, like, read these subtitles without the sound on, or at least without it playing, so that I could actually gather my thoughts and actually figure out what the heck they were talking about during these scenes. And it's these constant sound effects of just, you know, the voices making the sound effects. I think the issue kind of stems from the fact that it's not lower than the other character's voice. It's at the same sound level as the other dialogue. It might be just a tad bit lower, but you can still hear it very clearly, and because of that, I get very distracted by it. I think I said at some point that this anime makes me feel like I'm going to find out that I have ADHD this whole time. Just because I can't fucking focus. But that whole thing kind of takes me out a little bit, and so when we kind of kick into some more of the serious situations, I do like the part where they go up to where Yuko meet up with Momo at the sakura tree, and we have that heart-to-heart moment that I thought was pretty nice. There wasn't like some sort of, like, special effect voices that come out and distract me or anything, and I kind of like that for the most part, and then it kind of kicks in. I'll talk about it in a bit. So for now, I'm going to talk about the beginning, as Momo, after Momo left, and Seiko's got time to talk a little bit more about the daddy box, as she calls it. Hey yo, the daddy box. But Seiko apologizes to Yuko for keeping the secret this whole time. As with what she says, because you're so frail, I was afraid that burdening you with all of this might cause you to work yourself ragged and eventually fall apart, which is a good reason. She spent the majority of her life in the hospital. So if Yuko kind of just tosses out within the first episode, and we know, we can see the, I don't know if we can see, we notice the difference between Yuko now and Yuko before, where even though Yuko is still particularly weak, she is slowly getting stronger just a tiny bit, right? Kind of like how we see with Momo, who used to eat just freaking junk food all the time, and she started to get a lot better, a lot healthier now that Yuko is cooking for her and such. So it's understandable that why Seiko would keep the secret away from her in the first place. Now that you've awakened your demon powers, you need to become strong in order to protect yourself if you want to pave a path into the future. But it was terribly insincere of me to pressure you to do your best without telling you the whole truth. I can understand that, right? It's like, okay, I'm telling you to do your best and all that, but I never really give you a reason, so you're kind of just working towards this unknown path that you don't even know where you're going on. And you can kind of see the way that Momo was within the first few episodes as she tries to figure out what is her purpose as a demon girl and such. Like, what is she supposed to be doing? And I did mention how it's interesting that she wants to do something, but a lot of the things that she is going to do is because other people have told her to do, right? She's doing this because Lilith, her ancestor, tells her that she needs to do this, right? She's going to undo the seal because that's part of her path, as the ancestor would say. And Seiko finding out that her daughter is now has become a full-fledged demon girl, just push this onto her and say like, oh, now that you know that, I'm going to reveal to you about the whole Light Clan and Dark Clan shenanigan. And you need to undo the seal and save our family, right? This is a lot of stuff that's been pushed onto her, and Yuko kind of just took it, and it was just like, okay, this is what I need to do, but it's not something particularly that she personally wants to do, right? She wants to do it for the sake of her family, but it's not something that she wants to do. So it's really nice to see that Yuko now has a reason, right? This is the final episode of season 1. She has finally found her reason to fight, and we can see how much more determined she is as she went to talk to Momo at the Sakura tree, or just her coming to realize that, hey, I need to go find Momo right now. I'm gonna get out of here. Whatever that you're talking to me about, Mom, about what my dad used to say to me when I was young, whatever. I gotta get out. I gotta go find Momo, my mortal enemy, who I want to stay with for a long period of time. Anyways, as I was saying, Yuko was doing these things because her family is pushing it onto her, and she's just doing it because. But now that she knows the full truth, she realizes that, yeah, I have a reason to fight, and it's exactly the same thing. Undoing the seal, and also saving her father as well, right? That's something that's added on as well, that helps her to be even more determined than ever. But these are all things that she now come to realize that she wants to do it, right? She wants to do it personally, and not only because it's benefiting her family and such. Before Yuko left, Seiko showed her a picture of her father, who's just a Shota out here, and she had also explained that she stopped aging after she became Joshua's vassal, and that a vassal is someone that has forged a bond with another through a contract, or it's a type of blood relation through magic, right? You're becoming their subordinate and such. I'm not sure if I just didn't notice this before in the other episodes, but I thought it was interesting that as Yuko is trying to find Momo and she hears her ancestor, and she sees that her ancestor is being munched on by Doggo, she grabs the ancestor and just takes it out without, she's out here petting the dog, even though the dog's just freaking barking at her. Could bite her hand at any moment. But I thought it was interesting that she sees her ancestor, she thought it was her ancestor, and and just snatch it away from the dog, you know? She's just like, look, and it's initially, I'm just like, well, I thought you kind of had a fear of dog, or this dog in particular, because it's caused you quite the amount of harm. And also, not harm, but cost the amount of scare, but harm to her ancestor statue, I mean. So I thought, oh, that's interesting that here she is, just coming at this doggo. It's just like, just petting doggo and all that. I was like, wow, this is character growth right here. I like the reason Yuko decides to go after Momo immediately. It's because she is afraid that Momo will disappear if she's left alone. So she has to find her. But I already mentioned this, where Momo doesn't see the good in in the story that Seiko has explained, and Yuko is able to see the good in this. That, hey, if it wasn't for Sakura, I wouldn't have been able to get healthy. So in order to return the favor, I'm going to drag Momo back into this. You know, I'm not gonna let her freaking disappear, and I'm going to help her search for Sakura to find her sister and all that. And while Yuko is thinking about how, oh, maybe Momo was only getting closer to me in order to find out her sister and all that, and she was feeling a little crestfallen, here's Lilith encouraging Yuko to just seduce Momo while she's down, right? Do it while she's depressed. This is the best time. Take advantage. You're a freaking demon. Come on now. I'll talk about the whole Mikan situation. I'll talk about what Mikan was talking about in a little bit, but as we get on over to the Sakura tree, which is Momo and Sakura's, they don't specifically say favorite spot, but it's a spot that they like, and it's under a cherry blossom tree. And as I mentioned, Momo can only see the bad, not the good. She's very much a pessimist in this sort of thing, which I don't know if I've mentioned it, but it is just the way that it is in terms of a magical girl who's very negative and a pessimist. And as Yuko says later on in this scene, as she is attempting to recruit Yuko to become a demon, to become her vassal, where it says that Momo pretty much is kind of already leaning towards the dark path anyways. She's really good at figuring out evil things to do with with Yuko's powers. You even exude a way darker aura than I do most of the time. Fun. So, Momo's already kind of on that dark path. If she becomes a demon, nothing major is going to change, right? But again, we're going with this whole pairing of someone who's very negative and someone who is very positive, right? A person who's pessimistic while they're contrasted with a person who is optimistic. It's a nice pairing. I enjoy it. So by becoming Yuko's vassal, she's going to quit being a magical girl, and that can help Momo bypass the seal, because with the seal that's still ongoing, if she continues her I don't know, being a magical girl and all that, right? She's going to, it's going to be hard for her to find other demon girls or other demons. But as Momo is still rejecting this notion, because she can only see the bad, she says, no matter what I do, I can't return those 10 years to your family. And again, it's the idea of, well, it's not your fault. You weren't even in the fucking city when this whole shit freaking happens. Alright, you were off somewhere else. Not your goddamn fault. And so Yuko responds with this, saying, you're just going to give up and run away because you can't give everything back to us 100%? It's a nice, it's really nice, and I love that Yuko just fucking comes at her like, yo, you're just because you fucking can't give us back 100%, like we can't turn back time and like redo this whole process. But the only thing we can do now is live in the present and look to the future. And it's somewhere in my head, I was just like, unless you're telling me that magical girls only live till like a certain age or something before they freaking die or whatever, you know, some freaking Magica Madoka shit or whatever. You still got so much more ahead of you. You can find your sister, you can help Yuko undo the seal, and then you can live out the rest of your life with Yuko, and apparently y'all stop aging if she... So, okay, going back to the idea of Seiko not aging anymore. If she doesn't age, like, does that mean she's immortal? Or, like, she's just a long-lived being? And does that mean that Joshua is also a long-lived being? I mean, we have Lilith, who's sealed in the statue, but she's still very much alive, right? She's been here since the Mesopotamia age. So, she is technically immortal, just sealed. And so, like, if now that Momo has, now that Yuko has become a demon girl, does that mean that she's going to live forever? And if she takes, maybe eventually if she beats Momo or whatever, and Momo becomes a vassal under her, does that also mean that Momo's going to live forever? Look, they can be immortal lesbians for all I care. But it is a question that I wonder, and it kind of goes back to, like, how long have Seiko and Joshua been, like, living for? How long has it been now? Well, I think they said in the beginning that he also stages back to, well, before I make anything up, let me actually look at this again. Apparently, Joshua was a very common name in ancient Mesopotamia. Okay, so she actually didn't say how long Joshua has lived for. It's a common name in ancient Mesopotamia. Okay, anyways, moving away from the possibility of immortality or just having a long-lived life, we have Yuko looking out into the city and saying, I refuse to give up on anything. My father, undoing the seal, or being with you. Oh, like, goddamn, dude, she's out here in your top 3 things of not giving up. Goddamn. And so Momo takes Yuko's hand and says, like, hey, you promised not to disappear on me, right? Which goes back to the idea of Yuko being afraid that Momo's gonna disappear on her, and the both of them have just had this fear that the two of them are just gonna disappear on each other. So very nice that they made this promise that, hey, you're not gonna disappear, right? It doesn't matter what I've done in the past or whatever, you're going to stay by my side, right? Very nice. And I'm just over here like, is this a confession? Basically, right? Y'all gonna stay together. Yuko's gonna continue cooking for you and all that. But as we have this nice little moment, Momo starts to realize that her pessimistic brain comes in, and she's like, there's something wrong. Nothing this happy could ever possibly befall me. Wow, dude. You know what? I feel her. I understand that whole spiel right there, because the idea of something really good happening to me, I just know that there's something bad that's going to happen to me immediately right after. So, like, I get very suspicious if something good is happening. So I totally understand this line right here. But she realizes something's wrong, and she asks Lilith, like, if I end up becoming Yuko's vassal, then that means that I'm going to be even weaker than I am right now. And God, the freaking scowl on Lilith, dude. Yeah, you'll be considerably weaker. This goes back to this whole spiel where Momo asked Lilith initially, like, hey, this is not you doing, you manipulating Yuko to doing all this, right? Trying to get me to become her vassal. And Lilith's just like, look, I encourages her to do it, but all these words that she's saying, that's on her, alright? She's not reading off of a script or anything, I swear. And so Momo's like, look, I'm gonna fucking throw you out into space if this is your idea this whole time. And Lilith says, why? Am I crazy, or are you extra harsh on me all the time? And it's like, I wonder why, Lilith. It's probably because you are trying to be a full-on demon, right? Trying to have some sort of evil intention and all that, right? And also basically getting Yuko to do this stuff, and Yuko doesn't even realize, right? Lilith left this detail out willingly. And it's just like, alright, Yuko, you fucking do your thing. So, understandable that Momo is extra harsh to you. And so, after realizing that this is not a good deal, because, well, Momo can't be any weaker than she is right now, she revises the deal where she'll protect and train Yuko even harder. And while Yuko has to search for the other demons, since she's a demon and she's not going to get, she can just bypass the seal. And so, as Yuko's thinking about this, she's just like, wait a minute, this is the same exact thing that we've been doing, but I'm gonna have even more burden, more than usual. You're gonna train me even harder, and now I have to go fucking search for the other demons? What the fuck is this? And then, what did Momo say? No, that's not true, you're just imagining it. She's just out here lying to her, like, look, just don't think about it, alright? Just don't think about it, Yuko. Come on now. Oh god, Yuko, you need to be able to just, I mean, I get it. It's understandable. And especially maybe if you go meet up with a unsavory demon or whatever, right? Maybe they're trying to attack her. And if Yuko's weak the way that she is right now, the possibility of her getting attacked and not being able to defend herself is very high. And if Momo's there, she could at least be able to protect her. So it's an understandable deal. But Momo says that, well, if you want me to be your vassal, then you're gonna have to beat me first. And Yuko is out here just revealing her plan to her, like, haha, I'm just going to invade your dream and get you to do stuff for me. And so, because she reveals her plan to Momo already, Momo's just like, yeah, no, that's banned. I'm the rule maker in this scenario, alright? It's banned. Fist fight only. You know, the one part where I have the advantage and not you. Just goes back to the idea of Momo will play it on, will play it only on her advantage and not Yuko's. And it's just like, okay, look, last time she came and invaded your dream, you had a lucid dream. So, like, you're growing healthier and you're becoming better at noticing this. So, like, why can't you go just try and fucking do... I mean, it still affects her in some way, right? Where she ends up seeing Lilith and just tosses her because she remembers the freaking bug, you know, the bug Lilith just scurrying around. And that was what it was affecting her. Understandable. But... It's like, if you're already aware that she can invade your dream, right? What is to say that you can't just defend yourself in your dream, especially if you're able to do a little bit of lucid dreaming? You know, like, it gives Yuko a bit of a home advantage at the very least. She needs it. But I kind of understand the idea of you have to beat me first. I don't know about the whole beating me with fists part, but you know, you have to beat me first in order to make me your vassal, because as we go back to the other the whole situation on why they didn't do this deal in the first place, it's because Momo's going to become weaker than ever. And so if Yuko is able to beat Momo, then it means that she has now become stronger than Momo, and even if Momo becomes her vassal, she wouldn't really be any weaker, right? Since Yuko is going to be stronger already. So I understand that. But goes back on the idea of Momo very much takes things when it comes to her, only when it comes to her advantage. And that's pretty much it for that part. So I'm just gonna go back to the conversation with Mikan. And Mikan explains that with the whole seal thing, it's very hard for Momo to find evidence, figure out what has happened to her sister, and especially when she can't talk to other demon girls. Yeah, she can't encounter any other demon girls. And so Yuko wonders, like, well, when I first became a demon girl, I immediately met her, so what the hell's going on with that? And Mikan says, well, essentially she says that Yuko's an anomaly, right? She's the main character, so of course she's an anomaly. And she says that, well, you're a demon girl, but you have traces of magical girl energy, or magic, or whatever. And it might just be fate bringing them together. Wow. And she says that a mysterious power might be at work behind the scenes somehow. So there could be the possibility of someone pulling the string. And I know exactly who it is. It's the mangaka. This was just a meta phrase this whole time. But it does introduce that idea of, yeah, there is a bigger play that's that's happening right now, and Yuko was also thinking maybe the seal deteriorating is also part of that fate, right? And so I wonder. And that is pretty much all I have about the whole section on Mikan. Very short. But towards the end, we've got the narrator coming in who says, who talks about a rumor that is spreading. The rumor is about a city under the protection of the strongest magical girl who has parted from tradition and created a place where both the Dark and Light clan can coexist, and the citizens are used to all sorts of craziness, so they can just shake off anything. Which, understandable. So, it's like, okay, so this rumor is coming around, so does that mean that perhaps other demons will see this and be like, oh shit, we're tired of being oppressed by these frickin' Light Clan people, so maybe if I come to this city, I might be under protection, or whatever, right? Who knows? We might just be able to see more demons. I mean, that's the whole new goal now, is that Yuko has to go and find more demons, so I assume we are going to find more demons, whether they're coming in or if they've been living here for a while as well, since what Mikan says is that Momo wants to find demons who are old enough to know what had happened during this whole spiel. Oh, Sakura disappearing, I mean. And so that concludes episode 12. Not even gonna mention the whole other part where they're like, oh, the new semester has ended, and then the misunderstanding between Momo and Yuko, where Yuko was trying to make a letter of challenge and Momo thought that they were just gonna go out and have some fun. Yeah, it's just it's nice though. It's another little misunderstanding gag. But my thoughts about this anime in general, I remember when I first started it, right, the first 3 episodes or something, I was thinking to myself, I probably might not continue with season 2 just because I was interested in the lore, but I just didn't really vibe with the characters. Towards the end of all this, I am interested in season 2, but I still definitely feel that the lore is really pulling me towards said season 2, and if it wasn't for the interesting story and the interesting aspect of it, I feel like I probably wouldn't want to continue season 2, but the thing that I do enjoy about this series is the little details that it continues to show us, right? Whether it's something like how Momo cut her hand in the first place, and that is the reason why Yuko ends up gaining a little bit more power, or being able to unlock a little bit of the seal for Lilith and such. So I like these minor details. I love the way that they show these minor details of Yuko's horns and tail, how very active her tail is, and how it shows her emotion. She wears her heart on her tail, and just the way that if she, the minor detail of her wanting to buy a donut pillow because sleeping on her side with her horn is very cumbersome, very bothersome, and she wakes up feeling hurty. So she wants a donut pillow for her horn. I think that these are very nice small details just to show that the mangaka does care about these small little details. And I enjoy the character progression that we've got with Momo, and also with Yuko as well, as they continue to grow with each other and how they're able to end up supporting one another, right? I mentioned it, where Yuko is getting stronger little by little. She's not getting like immediately stronger, but she's getting stronger little by little, and she's kind of maintaining at a certain level right now, because Momo's out here training her all this time, and Momo is getting healthier because she used to only eat junk food all the time, and now here is Yuko who's coming to her house and just cooking for her. I don't know if every day or every other day, but she's certainly getting a more balanced nutrition now, and we get to see it from Yuko's first dream invasion of Momo, and then we get to see the difference in the second dream invasion. Thought that was very nice. I will say, Yuko's voice I thought it was alright. It's not really. I don't really. I feel like I don't really comment on it too much. But it certainly grew on me a lot as we continued on with this, and I just find that I really enjoy it when she yells out crisis management form. I really enjoy when she does that. Very fun. It's a little unfortunate when it comes to the characters, because characters are my bread and butter. I love them. And despite the whole character progression stuff that I really enjoy between Yuko and Momo, I still find it really unfortunate that I kind of just feel like I tolerate most of the character cast. Like, there's Henri, who I tolerate. I don't like her, but like now I just don't dislike her. I just tolerate her. She's very in the neutral spot. There's also Ogura, who I find is very much in a neutral spot too. I feel like I kind of just tolerate her as well. Mikan, unfortunately, doesn't get as much screen time as I had expected. So that's very, again, unfortunate. But I can kind of see that her gag might get a little stale if you show her too much, because her whole thing is that, well, she's kind of a giant tsundere, but she also gets flustered and surprised and scared, and, she feels all these emotions, and immediately the curse just comes, and it's understandable that that gag can get old really quickly. Unless she figures out how to bring it, she learns how to control it a whole lot more. Because if this is going to happen every single time, and if we see her more often, if this is the same thing that happens every time, it can probably get old really quickly. But I do wish that we had seen more of Mikan, and my only hope is that we are going to see more of her, and hopefully she's able to just control it just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit more. I'm not asking her to just immediately be able to find Zen and control her emotion. Or somehow undo her curse or whatever, right? I just want her to do it just a little bit more. I do want more episodes that's more focused on Mikan, because I do like her character. And it's unfortunate that the one character that I like comes in the late stage and then doesn't really get all that much screen time. I do like Ryo. And Seiko, I think she's slowly growing on me, like maybe really towards the path of me liking her, but still very neutral. But I definitely enjoy Ryo, and I enjoy her little misunderstandings that Yuko is some sort of successful warlord, getting a magical girl under her command and such. So I really enjoyed that. There's Lilith. And Lilith kind of goes on the whole level of being tolerable as well, where I like her gag as the ancestor statue, and I think that when it comes to Lilith, right, she gets a lot of shit thrown at her, and I think that's fine. I think that's okay, because, well, she tries to stir up shit as well. Kind of like with what I mentioned, where she's over here like, am I crazy, or are you just being extra harsh on me? And Mia in general, right, her to Momo. And it's understandable, because she is trying to stir up shit. She's trying to actually actively, do some quote-unquote evil shit. And by that, I mean, when she gets out, she's going to visit all the hot springs and then take over the world when she feels like it. Right? She's the same as Yuko, but she is a little bit more, I don't want to say malicious. I say evil very loosely, because, the whole, I want to go visit all the hot spring things. But she is very much more demon-like than Yuko. And so, as what Momo mentions during some point of this anime, where she's like, you're not very, somewhere around, like, you're not very demon-like, right? For a demon girl, you're awfully nice and kind and such. Not word for word, obviously. And so, someone like Lilith is someone that Momo is much more expected of when it comes to a demon girl. And so, the whole gag between Lilith getting bullied, I enjoy that, because, well, again, she's trying to stir up shit, she's trying to toss shit, and she gets it flinged back at her. And Yuko, it was very hard for me to, not very hard, it was just hard in general for me to kind of just let that die down, because the idea of her getting fucking shit on, even though she's just this naive, nice girl, who's just who's just a bit of a dummy, it's so it's just harder for me to see that she's like the bullyable character, and it's unfortunate. And also, speaking of Yuko, I do like Yuko. I find it, especially towards the end of all of this, I really enjoy Yuko's character, and she's currently, if we had seen more Mikan, but she is currently my favorite character of the show. Which, honestly, with what I was just talking about, with all the other characters I freaking tolerate, it's not a hard spot to sit on. It's this throne. It is not hard for Yuko to just sit on it and just be like, yes, I am best girl. When it comes to Yuko's character and how it feels like she's one of those bullyable characters, again, if it was Lilith, right, who tries to do some I was gonna say prank shit, right? So they try to do something to stir up the people, and then they get what's coming to them. I think that's fine. But then for characters like these, I don't particularly enjoy, just because I feel like they don't really deserve it. But then at some point, if Yuko still is kind of the way that she is. She doesn't. She is trying to fight back just a little bit more, but it's still not really happening. As I said, with how Momo ends up twisting this deal to her advantage, and Yuko can't really do anything about it. And again, I said. It's understandable why she can't really do much about it. And really the only way for Yuko to turn this around is for her to actually get stronger. If Yuko was kind of staying the way that she is, if she didn't have any other redeeming quality other than just her being a bullyable character, I would have ended up not really liking her as well. Right? There's only so much I can take when it comes to these sort of characters before I'm just like, okay. You know, and you can kind of see the way that I feel when Momo comes at Yuko, and I feel just a tad offended for Yuko's sake, and I feel like I'm just this overprotective mother who's just trying to protect Yuko. I start to realize that I feel that way towards Yuko, and I enjoy it. But as I said, there's only so much that I can take until where I just want Yuko to just be able to stand up for herself. And sometimes she does, but again, it usually doesn't go to her favor. But I'm glad that she's making the effort to do so, because if she didn't, I would not like her character, and it would definitely dour my mood for this anime a whole lot more. Spent a lot of time talking about characters. There were in terms of the sound effects. Well, I already mentioned I don't particularly like the voice sound effects. That's very distracting for me. But they have showcased a lot of 90s gaming style, where it's like Super Nintendo or whatever, right? The NES. So I really like those sound effects. I really like it when they showcase that whole gamey feel. I enjoy those, but not the voice sound effect stuff. The animation kind of goes along with what I was talking about for Yuko's tail, and how they make it very animated, and it really felt like this was a part of her body and not just a freaking prop. But I thought that they did pretty well for the animation. I do notice some particular something off sometimes when it comes to like these last couple episodes, but honestly, sometimes the decrease in quality is kind of not expected, but it's to be expected, because that's just how it is for a lot of these animation shows. It kind of it looks really good in like the first episode maybe, but then as it continues, it kind of just gets a little bit lower, and if it's really from a fucking shitty animation company, god, it looks awful. But despite that just slight degrade, I think it's still good. Anyways, I'm not sure if I have anything else to say. I mean, if I were to give a rating for this, probably I'd probably give it like a 7.5. But since I can't really do that on my anime list. You know, I can't put like a half a point. I'd probably just put it down to a 7. That's how I feel about it. And you know, it's not a bad score, honestly. Like, I still enjoy a lot of anime, and that I give 6 out of 10s, and I still find it very enjoyable. But that's just me, and if I have anything else to say, I'll write it in the description down below. Thank you guys for sticking around. I hope to see you guys on to season 2, and yeah, if I don't see you, then I'll see you when I see you.